Let's now cross live to Abuja, where the Interministerial Committee on Nigeria's 65th Independence Anniversary is holding a World Press Conference. The event themed Nigeria at 65, all hands on deck for a greater nation, is chaired by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, and hosted by Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris.
Permanent secretaries, federal directors, heads of agencies and parastatals here present, distinguished invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Interministerial Committee on Nigeria's 65th Independence Anniversary, it is indeed my honor and privilege to warmly welcome you to this World Press Conference. With the theme, Nigeria at 65, all hands on deck for a greater nation. Today's gathering underscores the central role of the media in shaping the narrative of our dear country. And as we mark yet another milestone in nationhood, it is indeed a moment to reflect on our collective journey to assess where we stand and to project with renewed hope the Nigeria we aspire to build together. As we proceed in this press conference, let us bear in mind that this is not just a ceremonial activity, but a platform to highlight government's commitment, rally citizens' participation, and inspire confidence in the collective task of national development. With that said, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the kind permission of the chairman of today's occasion, permit me to recognize a few of our dignitaries here with us this afternoon. In no particular order, permit me to recognize the presence of the Honorable Minister of Housing, Architect Ahmed Boussed Dangiwa. Please a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for joining us. While we're doing the introduction, we're graced with the presence of the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Senator Momo. Please a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for coming, sir. We have in the house as well the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Esther Watson Jack, OON MNR. We have the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Obodo Chinasa Ina. We also have with us the Permanent Secretary, Economic and Political Affairs, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Engineer Bakari Gagere Nadugu. We also have the Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Umar Dunuma. As we have more dignitaries join in the press conference, we will do well to recognize them as soon as I get some of their details. But for the ones I have here, permit me to recognize the Director General of the largest network service in Africa, the Nigerian Television Authority, Alhaji Abdulhamid Dembos. In that same vein, help me make welcome the Director General, Voice of Nigeria, Malam Jibril Baba Ndaje. Like I said, in a program as this, introduction is a continuum. As soon as I get those names, we will introduce them accordingly. Without wasting any much time, permit me at this time to invite the host of this World Press Conference, who has been at the forefront of government's communication agenda, championing clarity, transparency, and national reorientation. It is now my honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, Fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, to deliver his remarks. Please a round of applause for the Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, His Excellency Senator Akume, the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Jack, the Honorable Minister of Housing, Architect Engiwa, the Honorable Minister for Regional Development, my brother Malam Abubakar Momo, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Special Projects, Mr. Chunde Rahman. Permanent secretaries here present, heads of agencies under the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. I'm just going to lay out what we expect today, but as requested by the distinguished Secretary to Government, His Excellency George Akume, he will deliver his remarks, and thereafter he will depart us for other state matters before I now come back to do the full press briefing. But as has already been highlighted, this is a continuation of the celebration of the 65th independence of our dear country. As directed by Mr. President, this is designed to be a low-key activity. Already, it commenced with the special prayer at the National Mosque last Friday, followed yesterday by the National Ecumenical Center, the Christian Church service. We are doing this World Press Conference today, and we expect that on Wednesday, Mr. President will address the nation. Then on the 3rd of October, there will be an unveiling of the National Values Charter and the finals of the National Campus Debate. These are some of the activities that are lined up for this year's Independence Anniversary. Like I said earlier, this was deliberately designed to keep it very, very low. I now have the special privilege of inviting the distinguished Secretary to the Government of the Federation, His Excellency George Akume, to deliver his remarks. Thereafter, I'll be back to now brief you, my colleagues, members of the press. Your Excellency, sir.
The head of service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi, Minister Wilson Jack, the Honorable Minister for Information and National Orientation, Malam Muhammad Idris, the Honorable Minister of House and Architect Dangiwa, the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Engineer Momo, other members of the Federal Executive Council here present, top Presidential Advisor Tunde Rahman, permanent secretaries, top government functionaries, gentlemen of the press, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and joy that I welcome you to this press conference as we move into the climax of activities marking the 65th independence anniversary of our beloved country, Nigeria. Today, I will stand at the threshold of another historic milestone. It is important to remind ourselves that Independence Day is more than a ceremonial date. on our national calendar. It is a profound opportunity for us to reflect on how far we have come as a people, celebrate our resilience, and renew our commitment to the ideas of unity, peace, and progress, which our founding fathers fought so valiantly to secure. Our journey from 1960 to this moment has been marked by triumphs and trials, moments of joy and of testing. But through it all, the Nigerian spirit has remained high and unbroken. We have endured challenges in governance, economy, security, and social cohesion. Our true strength lies in our capacity to consistently rise after every storm, to rebuild after every setback, and forge ahead with resilience and faith in our destiny as a nation. This year's celebration is anchored on the theme, Nigeria at 65, all hands on deck for a greater nation. This theme is both a reminder and a charge. It reminds us that the responsibility of building a greater Nigeria is not the task of government alone, but a responsibility for every citizen, comprising the youth and elders, men and women, public servants and private entrepreneurs, farmers and professionals, teachers, military and paramilitary, traders and artisans, as well as those at home and in the diaspora. All hands must indeed be on deck for us to realize the Nigeria we envision, which is a nation united in purpose, love, rich in diversity, and resolute in progress. Under the visionary leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, the renewed hope agenda has become the guiding framework for transforming Nigeria. It is an agenda that speaks to national rebirth, inclusivity, and sustainable progress, thereby providing hope for our people, especially the youth, who represent the future of this nation. The Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation plays a central coordinating role in translating this vision into reality. As the engine room of government, the office ensures proper policy coordination, interministerial synergy, and effective implementation of the President's priorities. Through our mandate, we provide the institutional backbone to drive programs and initiatives designed to make the renewed hope agenda not just a slogan, but a lived reality for Nigerians. We are all aware of the economic reforms initiated by this administration. They are bold and imaginative, but sometimes difficult, but necessary steps aimed at stabilizing our economy, restoring investor confidence, and laying a foundation for long-term growth. Already, we are witnessing positive results. Inflationary pressures are beginning to ease. Foreign investment inflows are showing renewed interest. Job creation initiatives are expanding opportunities for our youth, and social intervention programs are being strengthened to cushion the effects of reforms on the vulnerable groups. These gains are a testimony to the renewed hope agenda which is on course. And with perseverance, greater dividends will be realized. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to provide an update on the remaining programs for the 65th Independence Anniversary. The Minister has touched on them. The Jumat service and the interdenominational church service have already been successfully held, beginning the celebrations with prayers for peace, unity, and progress. Today, which is Monday the 29th of September 2025, we're gathered here for this press conference. The grand finale of the National Campus Debate, showcasing the brilliance, creativity, and patriotism of our students across the nation, is scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, 30th September 2025. On Wednesday, which is the 1st of October, there will be presidential broadcast by His Excellency. As we celebrate this milestone, let us reflect on our shared responsibility to build a greater nation. Government is playing its part. Citizens too must play theirs. Let us put aside divisions and work together to achieve a Nigeria where opportunity is greater than despair, unity stronger than division, and peace stronger than conflict. I told you something here before. The motto of the University of Oxford University, and of course Cambridge University. These are rival universities in the UK, and they are regarded as Ivy League universities. They have an unwritten motto which says, differences without division, rivalry in fellowship. I wish to salute President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR for his bold leadership, for his imaginative leadership, and the renewed hope agenda, and reaffirm the commitment of the Federal Executive Council to continue driving policy issues and effective implementation of such policies for the good of our people. For the media, we owe you deep appreciation for your invaluable role in shaping narratives, fostering unity, and helping to grow our democracy and deepen our economy. At 65, Nigeria is still a work in progress. But with a renewed hope, shared responsibility, and collective resolve, our best days lie ahead. Let all hands truly be on deck for a greater, stronger, and more prosperous Nigeria. It is my honor to declare this occasion open, handing over the Minister for Information and National Orientation, Laji Idris. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless you all. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
I believe we can make the applause a bit louder for the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Thank you very much. With that said, we'll continue with this press conference by inviting the Minister of Information shortly Permit me to introduce the presence of the Honorable Minister of Environment. While the Secretary of the Government of the Federation was speaking, the Honorable Minister of Environment joined us. Please, a round of applause for His Excellency. Thank you very much for coming, sir. Balarimi Abbas Lawal. Please, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Environment. While the speech was going on, we're graced with the presence of the Permanent Secretary of Women Affairs, Dr. Miriam Ismaila Kenshiro. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you for coming. We also have in attendance the Permanent Secretary, General Services Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Sanusi Danjuma. Thank you for coming. We also have here the Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Dr. Emma Mau. We have the Permanent Secretary, Ecological Projects Funds Office, Dr. Aishat Dayoko Mohammed. We also have, all right, I've done that. So thank you very much. We'll continue with this World Press Conference as I invite my principal, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, to please brief the press. Please, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. I think you can make those applause a bit louder for the Honorable Minister.
Okay, sir. We'll talk later. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that the permanent secretaries will just see the SGF and return. Thank you very much. The head of service, the head of civil service of the Federation, Madam Didi Wilson Jack, the Honorable Minister of Housing, Architect Umar Ahmed Lengiwa, the Honorable Minister for Regional Development, Mr. Abubakar Momo, my elder brother, the Honorable Minister of Environment, Alhaji Ibrahim Balarabe Abbas, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Special Duties, Mr. Tunde Rahman, Permanent Secretaries, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is heartwarming to join millions of Nigerians at home and abroad to witness yet another monumental commemoration for our dear country, our 65th independence anniversary. 65 is a number associated with the gemstone known as sapphire, which symbolizes loyalty, trust, faith, nobility, sincerity, beauty, and wisdom, all of which happen to be defining qualities of the Nigerian soul and spirit. October 1 every year represents a milestone that enjoins us, even as we celebrate, to take stock of our journey in nationhood, to weigh the present, and to rally around a renewed hope purpose centered on repositioning our nation for a greater future. As we mark the 65th year since our independence from Great Britain, we are all witnesses to the remarkable reforms taking shape at a pace never seen in the history of this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is doing the needful. He is committed, he is courageous, and is also a visionary leader that is gradually dismantling the stubborn clogs in the wheel of our national progress. Under the renewed hope agenda and its 8 priority areas, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is laying the building blocks for a national renewal anchored on prosperity, peace, and unity. At this point in time, our collective participation in nation building is critical in the sustenance of the progress being made. That is why the theme of this year's 65th anniversary is All Hands on Deck, a direct and heartfelt call to all Nigerians and our friends and partners around the world to show understanding and to commit to supporting these landmark reforms. Our trade surplus continues to grow with an increasing share of contributions from the non-oil sector. Declining inflation, a strengthening currency, the falling food prices, growing external reserves, all these are more eloquent testament that we are on the right track as a nation. From January 2026, that's in a few months from now, we will commence implementation of the Tax Acts Quartet, which will expand our nation's revenue base while simultaneously simplifying tax collection and lessening the burden on our people. These new tax laws represent a huge leap forward for the Nigerian economy and for business, for entrepreneurship, and also for investment. With more revenue at its disposal on account of the reforms being undertaken by this current administration, the Tinubu administration is investing heavily in the key components that will catalyze our collective growth and development. Health, education, infrastructure, agriculture, energy security, regional and grassroots development, small businesses, youth, and national security. All these are indeed the focus of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. As we speak, more than 500,000 students of tertiary institutions, those in the university, polytechnics, and colleges of education are already benefiting from the National Education Loan Fund, or NEL Fund for short, in which tuition and upkeep allowances are paid for by the federal government. This is unprecedented in the history of our country. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our nation is gradually recapturing the spirit of people. The establishment of new development committee and federal original development. We have in charge of that ministry here with us. We're in the middle of a road and transport infrastructure revolution in this country, of which the flagship initiative is the one comprising the presidential legacy highways designed to connect Nigerians through the various geopolitical zones to enhance national integration and also unlock new economic corridors for the nation. These landmark road projects are the 1,068-kilometer Sokoto-Badagry Highway, the 750-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the 477-kilometer Trans-Saharan Highway, traversing different states such as Calabar, Ebonyi, Kogi, Benue, Nasarawa, and the FCT, and of course, the 422-kilometer Akwanga, Jos, Bauchi, and Gombe Expressway. Details of these have already been provided by the Honorable Minister of Works. Complementing these are the high-impact rail projects, the Kano-Kaduna Standard Gauge Rail, and the renewed push for the rehabilitation of the eastern corridor of the rail line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. In the energy sector, this administration has revived the 200 and 55 MW Kaduna power plant, and we are determined to bring it to completion. The Presidential Power Initiative, that is also known as the Siemens Power Project, is on course, and the Presidential Metering Initiative that this administration also initiated, which is a vital collaboration between the federal government and the subnationals, will deliver 7 million smart meters to all the various homes across this country, and is going to close the metering gap that exists in the power sector before 2027. Currently, Nigeria is home to the implementation of one of the world's largest distributed renewable energy projects that is called the Distributed Access Through Renewable Energy Scale-up, or DARES for short. It is a project that has a $750 million World Bank support. It intends to deliver clean and off-grid electricity to more than 17.5 million homes across the length and breadth of this country. In oil and gas, the progress is equally unprecedented. We have seen a steady increase in oil production to meet our OPEC quota, and an equally steady reduction in oil losses to a 16-year low. For the first time in 16 years, we are seeing the losses that have occasioned the oil sector in the last 16 years at its lowest ebb. Gas flaring is also at an all-time low, while new investments are flooding in to scale up gas exploration, processing, and distribution. New investments in deep water oil and gas exploration have exceeded $5 billion. We are also advancing the AKK gas project, AKK meaning the Ajaokuta, Kaduna, Kano gas project, and other critical gas pipelines, while frontier basin oil and gas exploration has resumed with the drilling of 3 oil wells in the Kolmani region of Bauchi and Gombe states. We have heard in some quarters that work on the Kolmani oil project has stalled. It has not. Indeed, the federal government is having a renewed focus in that area. In solid minerals and mining, we have welcomed investments such as the $50 million Aspa lithium plant in the FCT and the $600 million Avatar lithium processing plant in Nasarawa State. Between 2023 and 2024, royalties earned by this government on solid minerals has more than doubled, reflecting the success of the diversification efforts of the Tinubu administration. In the healthcare sector, over 1,000 primary healthcare centers have been rehabilitated across this country, underscoring the administration's commitment to human capital and social infrastructure. Only recently, the federal government, through the Ministry of Health and the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, has commissioned 3 advanced world-class oncology centers. In other words, world-class cancer centers as part of the broader push to expand the healthcare infrastructure across this country. The commission centers are located, one at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, the Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina, and the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital. A few months ago, I joined the Honorable Minister of Health and the Honorable Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy to go and commission this project on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Already, these world-class oncology centers are already in operation in these 3 locations. Another 3 are already nearing completion. That is at the University of Jos Teaching Hospital, the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, and the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital. Overall, very shortly, we're going to have 6 world-class oncology, in other words, cancer centers situated around this country. What this means is that it is now a matter of choice for you to travel out of this country because you want to access cancer care. Contrary to the perception being pushed in some quarters, this administration has demonstrated uncommon commitment to a balanced and inclusive development since the assumption of office of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The distribution of capital projects under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is equitable. No region is taking a backseat. Local government areas are being fiscally reintegrated as catalysts for growth and development, with the financial autonomy that the President is determined to fully operationalize. Today, all state governments now receive from the Federation account multiples of the revenues they used to get, thanks to the increased headroom from the oil sector, from the oil subsidy removal. Subnational governments, that is the state governments now, are able to do a lot more for their people with less debt. We recall that before the advent of this administration, at some time, almost 27 states are unable to pay salaries. This is no longer the case. Beyond this, the federal government is actively going further to support various subnational infrastructure projects. And this is, of course, in many parts of the country, irrespective of their political interests or political affiliation. For example, the lateral projects in Kano and Kaduna states, for which funding to the tune of 150 billion naira and 100 billion naira respectively have been secured. President Tinubu has also established the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development for the first time in our history. We all know that this used to be a department under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The livestock sector is now being properly positioned as a sector that will globally compete with any other sector within the industry across this globe. In addition to spur agricultural production, the Bank of Agriculture has been recapitalized to the tune of 1.5 trillion naira and is regarded as the most significant boost to agricultural financing in the history of our country. This is the more reason why the all hands on deck message is apt and timely. Henceforth, no tier of government has any excuse not to fully pull its weight in this collective and comprehensive economic growth and development. Distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, for 65 years, Nigeria has chartered an extraordinary journey of growth and resilience, evolving in politics, economy, democracy, and military strength. Our nation has not only stood as a beacon of hope for its citizens, but has also emerged as a rallying point for the entire black race across the globe, embodying the spirit of unity, courage, and leadership that our people are known for. Nigeria played an audacious pioneering role in the liberation and independence movements of several African nations, particularly during the transformative decades of the 1960s, the 1970s, and the 1980s. Through unwavering political support, skillful democracy, and independence movements of several African nations, particularly in the years that I have mentioned, Nigeria stood shoulder to shoulder with those fighting for freedom and self-determination. We are also seeing that only recently, Nigeria made its case also at the United Nations. Various African countries bear testament to Nigeria's enduring commitment to their struggles for independence. Our solidarity went beyond words. It was a demonstration of Africa rising together, unified against oppression and colonial subjugation. We stood and continue to stand firmly in our belief that our continent, Africa, has indeed come of age. Nigeria also led the charge in mobilizing West African nations to forge a common front through the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Only recently, the president left as chair of the ECOWAS Commission. Recall that within the first few weeks of his inauguration as the president, the ECOWAS community deemed it fit to recognize and elect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a 2-term consecutively as chair of the ECOWAS Commission. Through platforms such as ECOMOG, Nigeria contributed both men and material resources to restore peace and stability in countries like Liberia and Sierra Leone, which showcase our commitment to regional harmony and the protection of human dignity. Today, through the Technical Aid Corps, we continue to assist dozens of countries in Africa and beyond with Nigerian experts and technical support. On the democratic front, Nigeria has been a vanguard of constitutional governance on the continent. Our insistence on the restoration and preservation of democracy across West Africa and beyond stands as a watershed, reinforcing the principle that true progress is anchored in people's participation and the rule of law. Also on the global stage, Nigeria has also defined its role in peace and security, making significant contributions to United Nations peacekeeping missions around the world. Only this year, we entered into an agreement with the African Union to provide what is called the Strategic Sea Lift Services, supporting the African Union's peacekeeping operations, disaster response, humanitarian aid, and personal movement. These efforts underscore our unshakable belief that peace, stability, and justice are universal values deserving the active engagement of every nation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate 65 years of independence, let us steadfastly hold on to hope, to our unity, and to patriotism. Let us never lose sight of the fact that the renewed hope agenda is not just a slogan. It is a reality that is already touching lives and will continue to do so in the years ahead. I want to use this medium to also convey President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's salute to all Nigerians for their perseverance, especially at the onset of the reform agenda of this administration. My dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is our message to you. We need all hands to be on deck to consolidate on the gains of the last 2 years plus, even as we march boldly towards the Nigeria of our dreams. We fully acknowledge your sacrifices and your understanding, especially in the last 28 months, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has worked tirelessly to steady the ship. It is now time for the entire country to reap the fruit of the seeds of reform that have been painstakingly planted by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his administration in the last 28 months. Ladies and gentlemen, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is working for you. This administration is listening to you. It is also committed to ensuring that no Nigerian is left behind in our march towards progress and prosperity. Let us continue to believe in Nigeria, because together we can make our country greater than ever before. On this note, let me say Happy Independence Day, and God bless you all, members of the press and all Nigerians. And let me add that this is indeed just an abridged version of the successes recorded by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 2 years plus. Indeed, the regular ministerial press briefings will continue after the October celebration, where ministers will be invited here to continue to speak with you and engage Nigerians, so that Nigerians that have entrusted them with this position of leadership will continue to hear from them and take explanations where necessary. I thank you all for listening, and God bless us all. I will endeavor to take a few questions where necessary. The one I cannot answer, I will refer you to the relevant people who will answer. The one that I will answer tomorrow, I will not pretend to answer it today. I will take note of the questions and then come back to answer to you. This is part of our commitment to transparency, honesty, and patriotism in giving you information that concerns you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I believe we can make the applause a bit louder for the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. Thank you very much. You may please be seated. And while he was rounding up that speech, we're graced with the presence of the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Hajia Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, FSR. You're welcome, ma'am. Much time, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll move to the question and answer sessions. We'll be taking 3 questions. The show of hands will go. Permit me to be gender friendly. So I will start with my brother here, the gentleman on bow tie, the lady on green, and at the other side. If the Minister of Women Affairs will permit me, we'll come back to the lady. But we'll take these 3 first. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, sir, other honorable ministers seated at the high table, and my good friend, the Senior Special Assistant to the President. My name is Emeka Wampa. I publisher of Nigerian Spokesman magazine. All hands on deck for a greater nation. I hope you can see this. Honorable Minister, sir, in the build-up to our independence, 2 of our great forefathers, the Sadana of Sokoto, Ahmadu Bello, and Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, there was a conversation between both of them. The Zigs told Sadana, can we forget our differences? The Sadana replied, no, let us understand our differences. Which means the infrastructure of differences is endemic, even in this country, even at independence, differences. Sir, I was in UK recently, and I found myself in the company of top British journalists. The first question I got asked, he said, is it true that your country is bleeding? I said, well, where did you get that? He said, we got from the reports that there was a group of young Nigerians that came and cried out that Nigeria is bleeding. And I told them to look at me. Do I look like someone coming from a country that is bleeding? Honorable Minister, that shows that there are differences in this country. Why some patriotic Nigerians are pulling the country in the path of growth and development, some are pulling it in the other direction, talking about centrifugal forces and centripetal forces.
Question, sir.
I want to ask, sir, you have a message for Mr. President. He's on Wednesday is coming with a promise. As a response to mitigating these differences, will this administration consider setting up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission? I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, the lady on green. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I am Princess Ekwi Ajide of the Anambra Broadcasting Service. Sir, when you were talking, you said Nigeria is in the forefront of delivering democracy, and my mind went somewhere. My question is, 65 years after, we are still grappling with the issue of unity, trust in government. I am saying this because I belong to the Igbo race. And in Nigeria, the Igbo still believe that we are relegated to the background, and that is the truth. I'm using myself as an example. Many times, because I work in a state-owned television, we seem not to be given the status that we should be given, yes. But in this era of digitization, no television, no media house is small or big. That small medium may be the medium that will put you in trouble. And we all know that. For instance, even though we are in the States, we are not on DSTV, we are on Nicomsat, free to air, and we stream live. Yet, we are not given that status that we are supposed to be given. And that is because we are Ndibo. Yes.
All right. So what's the question, ma'am?
My question now is, despite the success stories of this present administration, what is the measure? What measures are we putting in place to ensure that every Nigerian, despite where you come from, despite your clan, you are given a sense of belonging?
Thank you very much, ma'am. And the gentleman over there with the suit. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Friday Oloko. My name is Friday Oloko. I work with Arise News. As at the time the SGF spoke, although it's not here, but I know that the Revenue Minister can shed light on it. He made a statement that at 65, Nigeria is still work in progress. When you compare Nigeria with states like advanced countries, advanced democracies like the United States, it is believed that at 65, they have actually achieved a lot. Would you say that at 65, Nigeria has gotten to the promised land? If not yet, when do you expect to get there? And secondly, with the spread of crisis and divisions in the country, a lot of people believe that Nigeria has become a federation of incompatibles. And as such, the slogan of One Nigeria is an empty slogan and a deliberate attempt to set the country into perpetual blight. Where did you get it wrong, sir? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your question. The Honorable Minister will now respond.
Thank you. The first question is from Emeka, and I think it's also tied to the last one, where he talked about the possibility that Nigeria is bleeding, and he asked whether there's a need for us to continue to understand our differences, like the late Sardauna and late Azikiwe said, according to him. And he's also asking whether there's a possibility of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Well, let me say that I'm not aware, as Minister of Information, whether government is contemplating any form of Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I think that truth is glaring to everyone in this country. And I want to believe that to a very large extent, we have reconciled significantly, even if some minor differences do exist. He brought the analogy that he was in the UK recently and whether Nigeria was bleeding. And I'm happy looking at Emeka. If you look at Emeka standing up, is there any indication of any bleeding person from any bleeding nation from him? Emeka is looking well fed. He is looking very happy. He can travel to the UK. He can come back. He can engage. He can attend. He can hold Nigerian flag. Let me say that this country is not bleeding at all. Mr. President has said that the hemorrhage that existed because of the twin policies that he addressed, the removal of fuel subsidy and the unification of the exchange rate, the wound that is stopping us from that growth has gradually healed. It's part of the reason why we are here today. I said in my remarks that 27 states out of 36 without the FCT were unable to pay salaries of staff or just pay salaries epileptically. Today, there is no state government that is unable to pay salary. If any state governor is unable to pay salary now, it is by choice, not because he lacks or the state lacks the ability to do so. Nigeria's bleeding has long stopped. The bleeding is no longer here with us. Yes, you talked about Sardauna and Azikiwe, and I want to add Awolowo. There was healthy competition among these three leaders in the old democratic arrangement that we had. That healthy competition is what led to the growth of each of these regions at that time. From the time of Awolowo, from the time of Sir Ahmadu Bello, time of how many Azikiwe in this country? We can't at this time continue to them on progress when they left us. We recover our sense as a nation, and that is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing, bringing us together, marching us towards prosperity. And I want to believe by the time the president leaves office, we will see more of Azikiwe's, we will see more of Sardauna's, and we will see more of our laws by God's grace. The second one is from Princess, from, if I get it correctly, the Anambra Broadcasting Service. And to be honest, Princess, I was wondering whether we're actually living in the same country with you. to be honest with you. While you are saying that a particular ethnic group is being marginalized, I wonder how true that would be. About 6 weeks ago, I led the federal government communication team to the southeastern part of this country. And what I saw happening in terms of infrastructural development, especially in roads and bridges, it has never ever happened in the history of this country. We have the Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi, who is in charge of the ministry that has the greatest allocation, or one of the ministries that has the biggest allocation, and he's doing so well in that regard, bringing development to all parts of this country. I don't see how marginalization will have brought a Minister of Works from your part to become Minister at the center here. If you say you want to see more development happening in your particular region, I think it is a good one, and that is why, Mr. President, in order to answer some of these agitations and questions and requests from various regions, went ahead, in addition to the Niger Delta Development Commission, set up the various, about 5 of them, regional development commissions, so that they can address some of these challenges that you have brought forward. Let me say that everyone is part of this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president for all. The president will tomorrow be in Imo State with the governor of Imo State. Imo, as I know, is still in the southeastern part of this country. He has been to various states in this country. Many of the states, including the one I visited, is not even an APC state yet. We went to Enugu State. Yes, I'm saying yet, because it is open. It is open. If everyone sees that there's development, there is progress, there is cohesion, there is unity, there is march towards prosperity under the APC-led administration, then keep thinking. So let me say, Princess, that there is no marginalization, no any ethnic group, no any state is left behind in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's march towards building a greater Nigeria for all of us. And then I will come to Friday. It is actually tied to the first questions. He said, has Nigeria reached its promised land? Is the federation an amalgamation of the incompatibles? I would say no. Is 65 work in progress? I would say yes. And let me explain. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has never told Nigerians that he has already taken Nigerians to where he wants it to be. This is a march that we have begun. Of course, other previous leaders have also made their contributions to nation building. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has gone down to the basics and is putting together building blocks that will enable us to reach that prosperity that all of us are craving for. If you look at the theme of this year's independence anniversary, it is saying all hands on deck. It didn't say the hand of this person or the other person, or this woman or that man, or the old man and the old man. All of us need to come together in our collective desire to take this country to the destination that we want it to go. But let me put it out there, especially to my colleagues in the media. It is absolutely important for you to put out positive and patriotic stories about your country. Criticism is part of the job of any media organization or media professional. But even in doing that, you must know that you need to have a country before you can have any form of media organization. It is absolutely important for us to think as Nigerians, even while you do your work as the fourth estate of the realm, holding government to account, because that is what journalism and the media profession is there for. We have, even with our challenges, This is a great country. The president believes so much in this country. He believes that this country can actually reach that desired destination. It's not something that can happen in the lifetime of any administration. But we have begun a journey, and the president is saying there is no reverse going back. There is no one that is not happy flying on good roads. There is no one that is not happy seeing children of the less privileged having access to quality education. I just said in my speech, federal government paying for their tuition and paying for their upkeep, and the numbers keep rising. As at yesterday, about 100 billion naira has already been committed to that sector, and the president is saying no going back. There is no reason why any child is unable to go to school on account of the inability of his parent or guardian to pay for his school fees or to pay for his upkeep in schools. So many of this is happening. If we stay here, I have told you here about what is happening. In just 2 years, over 1,000 primary healthcare centers have been rehabilitated or built in this country. For the first time in our history, we are having 6 oncology centers, world-class cancer centers. We are having roads being constructed everywhere. We are seeing the massive leap in terms of our revenue. We are seeing the growth we are seeing in the non-oil sector. This is a journey. It is not yet a destination, and Mr. President is driving this country to that destination. He is not going to accomplish it by the time he leaves office. Others will come and continue. But what is important is that a solid foundation has been laid for all of us to build on. Thank you very much. And yes, that is, I've been reminded of marginalized state media organization. As Minister of Information, Princess, I'm finding this extremely ability to be on DSTV or on other platform actually responsible. It is organization. Media that is deliberately in this country. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yes, challenges may exist, but I can tell you that being a product of democracy himself, he believes in media freedom, he believes in the ability of individuals to express themselves freely and willingly. He will not in any way, form or shape stifle press freedom in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I believe the Honorable Minister deserves a resounding round of applause. Thank you very much. In the absence of any other question, I think would... Honorable Minister? Just a moment. Apologies, I'll just be directed that we have to go off air now, but thank you very much. We'll take it later. Thank you very much. With that, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this press conference. We'll urge our reporters to always report responsibly, as our minister will always say, and we'll take this message. With that said, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we take the first stanza of our national anthem to bring this press conference to a close. Media. Thank you very much, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
That was the World Press Conference on Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary, with key remarks from the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, and the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris.